All right, so we're gonna upholster dining room chairs today. So as you can see, I'm actually sitting at the table that the chairs are gonna be reupholstered. You can see this chair behind me is the first one that I've painted. The pad and everything's been taken off and the old fabric was removed. So we're gonna reupholster with new fabric that I got. So I'm going to show you first what my dining room chair is. So yours may be different, but just turn them over, do some digging. Doesn't hurt to take them apart and see what's there. So this is how mine was set up. So we've got high density foam, we've got particle board. This was the fabric. So this was over top and then pulled tight. And then on the bottom, after it was all stapled, this piece was stapled again to cover where this all went. So let's flip it over and I'll show you what we have here. Okay. So it was like this. They attached all this with staples. And then once that was stapled, they took this piece over top. Actually, I bet you it went like that. And then this was stapled to make it look just a little bit nicer. So you will use a lot of staples. I will tell you there were so many staples on this, it took forever to take them all out. But I'm going to save these pieces. So like this I will save and put back on top. So the only piece I'm not using again is the fabric itself. So let's flip that back over. So I'm not going to be using this piece again. I may save it for another project because I'm thrifty like that. The fabric, I ordered 6 yards, so 1 yard per chair. It's probably too much per chair, but it's always better to have more than less. And I'm actually going to use this old fabric to trace onto the new fabric. Since I know that this fit, this should fit too. So I ordered my fabric from fabric.com. And then I have the blog post linked below. So if you want to see just the still shots and everything, feel free to do that. So I think what we actually need to do first is I need to iron this. So we're going to iron the piece first. So I'm just ironing on my tabletop. I mean, not ideal. I just didn't want to get out my entire ironing board. And it's not terribly wrinkled. And I don't have this on super high. Just trying to smooth out the area that I'm going to be working in. So I'll do this with each chair. As you can tell, though, I'm sitting in the chairs. I have only one painted so far back here. So it'll be a minute before I get the rest of them done. Okay. Okay. Now that we've got a big enough section, I'm going to take my previous fabric, just line it up here. Okay, and then I do have pins. I'm going to pin it in place so that when I'm cutting around, you could also use a fabric cutter and a mat to cut this. I just wanted it to be just a little bit easier, and since I'm doing such a big piece that the edges don't have to be perfect. You'll see on this, I mean, the edges were pretty rough cut, when they put it together. So we don't need it to be perfectly square like you would on a quilt or something like that. Okay, now that we have the whole piece pinned down, I'm going to use my scissors. As you see, I have these labeled as fabric only scissors. That is what the only thing these are to be used on. And I'm just going to rough cut around the old piece. Go. Okay, so as you can see, I have my new piece ready to reupholster my first seat. So I'm going to take the rest of that, shove that over there. Right. Make sure this is exactly how I want it. So we're going to kind of sandwich these. So now we got to remove all the pins again. And as I mentioned in the blog post, it's best to choose fabric swatches like samples. So that's what I did. I ordered about, I think it was 5 of these. It ended up being just under $25 with shipping to have these all sent, and that way I could actually physically see it, touch it, feel it, because online pictures and colors are just harder to decipher, and especially when you're trying to do a project this big. And I don't plan on doing this again anytime soon, so I wanted it to be a fabric I would want to live with for a while. Because we've had this table, we bought it original, we're the original owners, after we were first married about 10 years ago. So exactly 10 years ago. So you want it to be something that's going to be durable, that you would want to have in your home for a while. Okay, so now I've got the piece laid with the good side down on the table. I'm going to place this over top just to see how I might want, because I want to make sure, I don't know exactly how they had it. I want to make sure there's enough to bring up and over, so like I can see this corner is going to be a little short. And then we put this. Yeah, my corners are going to be, finagle this around a little bit here. Go, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough. And that one might be just a tiny bit tight. Okay, so I do have enough where I've got it centered at the moment to pull everything up. Still need a staple gun. I'm going to go through a lot of staples. So I'm just going to start on one edge, pull it tight. I'm pulling it tight each time. I can feel the foam giving, like I'm pulling it tight a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to do one corner and then I'm going to do the opposite corner. So I want to make sure we pull this tight. tucking in the edges as well as we can as we go along here. You're going to use a lot of staples. Now, since I started moving along that edge, I'm going to move along the opposite edge here. This corner. The corners are going to be the hardest. Okay, I'm going to do the back. Nope, I'm going to do this corner first. Alright, so all I have left is the front. I'll flip it over, kind of see what I think. Looks pretty good. Some dirt on it just from the table. So you see the front looks pretty good. Sides, I still have some bunching here. I'm going to have to try and correct. Nice thing is that with staples, you just take them out and kind of readjust. So now we have the front of the seat left. There we have our new upholstered seat. I will be adjusting the sides so you can see there's a little bit of wrinkling right here, so I'm going to take some of these staples back out and just kind of pull and readjust to how I like it. But let's see what it'll look like on the chair once we have the chair put back together. Okay. there we go. Brand new chair. We have to put the table legs back, the braces back in, and then there are some bolts that will